Good evening, everybody. We are here back again in downtown Miami, Florida. And tonight we are going to be talking about interest rates. So we had a pretty broad-based sell-off across all equity indices, the S&P 500, Dow Jones Industrial Average, and the NASDAQ this past week, mainly due to interest rates. The 10-year Treasury yield is bumping up against the 1.72% range, and we haven't seen those rates that high since March of 2021. So we'll talk about that and more on the stream tonight as we walk around Miami. Hey, I see Ken Kramer. I see the ABX girl. Hey, ABX girl. I see Maria O. Vinny Castellano. What's going on, Vinny? NNB045 is here. Otto is here. Teresa is here. And Dallas is here. And so is Cooking with Chef Rel. Says, good evening. What's up, everybody? Optimus Prime. Good to see you. Yes, so Daughtry says, I changed my channel's name. Took a second look to click. Yeah, so it's all going to be the same content. But just with a different name. We're good to see everybody. Heartland Explorer. Good to see you. Carmen is here. What's up, Carmen? Sally. What's going on, Sally? So just let me get my backpack together and then we will continue. So this is right outside of the FTX Arena here in downtown Miami. And this is where the Miami Heat play. Hey, what's up, Manny Explorers? Good to see you. Hope you're well. We have Manny Explorers here. Cool on 516 is, was your flight back okay? Hopefully no cancellations. Yeah, so that is a little bit weird. So my flights were not canceled at all, thank God. But as everybody knows in the papers and everything like that, there was over 1,000 flight cancellations, mainly due to the new Omicron variant that is going around that is getting many people sick. So a lot of flight attendants are out, a lot of pilots are out. A lot of businesses are very, very short-staffed. Hey, Jared, thank you so much for the $5 super chat and donation. I appreciate it very much, Jared. Appreciate it. Chris is here, is tuning in from Australia. Beautiful. Hope everybody had a good day. I apologize for not streaming yesterday and the day before, but it's just been crazy getting back to work, especially, you know, if anybody is in sales here or in banking, usually all the major decision makers are out of the office starting pretty much Christmas Eve, and then it goes all the way to the end of the year. So once we have New Year's, everybody's back to the office. So it is an absolute tidal wave of emails that start pouring in. So I've been having to deal a lot with that, but things are getting back on track and I'm very optimistic for the new year. Hey, Irevis is here. How are you, Irevis? Santa Monica Rodriguez is joining us. Hello, how are you? Yeah, Manny Explorer says, yeah, I heard about all the flight cancellations. So surprisingly, I think I was one of the only flights that did not get canceled, surprisingly. Hey, Chris, how are you? Good to see you. Matthew P. says, hey, Tom, old chap. Hope you're doing well today. I am doing very well today. Yeah, Maria O says, correct, same thing within the insurance industry. Everybody is usually out of the office until the new year. Optimus Prime says, Tom, why are stocks falling? So that's a good question, and I think we have to look to interest rates. And we actually heard from the Federal Reserve not too long ago, this week. It's called the Fed Minutes. And supposedly, so they say, the Fed is going to get more aggressive with, number one, tapering back the asset purchases. We know that the Federal Reserve is buying mortgage-backed securities, U.S. Treasuries, to help stimulate the economy. But the number one thing we need to look at is that U.S. 10-year Treasury yield. And if anybody wants to check the 10-year yield, I think the last time I checked was a little bit earlier in the day today. And the 10-year was bumping up to 1.7%. So interest rates are creeping up. And as we know, big tech stocks and growth stocks are very sensitive to interest rates, because as interest rates are rising, the cash flows or the future cash flows and earnings of those tech companies are now worth less. because interest rates are rising. Hey, the ABX girl says Chase closed branches in New York City due to COVID, but they get extra days and will not use PTO if positive for COVID. Well, ABX girl, that is good news. But that is something else I wanted to talk about tonight, because the mayor of New York City has been coming under some, let's just say, some fire as of late. I believe the new mayor of New York City, Mayor Eric Adams, is coming under fire for a comment he made in a press conference about restaurant workers, and I think it was really unfair what the media is doing. So we're going to talk about that as well on the stream, because I think it has to do a lot with financial markets, believe it or not. Hey, Cynthia Martinez, how are you? Good to see you. Hey, good to see you, Jay Gator. Says 30-year mortgage rate is also priced off the 10-year Treasury. Yeah, so what Jay Gator said is absolutely spot on. You know, a lot of people don't know this, but the 10-year Treasury yield is actually more sensitive, or mortgages are based off of the 10-year. A lot of people think it's based off the US 30-year. That is actually not true. Jake Gans says, you're lucky New York City is getting lots of snow, almost 7 inches, but they said it's still got power to get big, heavy snow. Yeah, supposedly New York City is going to get hit with a little bit of a snowstorm, so I guess we'll have to see how that plays out. But it is definitely beautiful here in sunny Florida. We are here in Miami. It was about 77 degrees and bright sunshine today. So definitely no complaints as we are standing outside the FTX Arena. But if you look right here, this building is actually called the Freedom Tower. So this is Miami's Freedom Tower. Hey, NG, good to see you. How are you? Yes, we are back in Florida. British Gray is here. Good to see you, British Gray from Tampa, Florida. Good to see you, Obama. And Melanie Sam says, hey, what's up? Good to see you, Melanie. Thiago, how are you? Robert Stevens III, or the second, says 1.75 top today. And I see Charlie Richardson. How are you? Good to see you. So here's one thing that I'm seeing a little bit of a problem, especially in New York City. So as you know, I believe JP Morgan Chase is the #1 employer on the island of Manhattan. And from talking to a lot of my friends who work in investment banking or finance, it's not only JP Morgan Chase, but they are, they sent out an email across all the major investment banks prolonging the work from home environment until February. And I think what a lot of people don't realize is that's very, very dangerous to have work from home extended. And many people think it's going to be work from home in perpetuity, because on the island of Manhattan, a lot of the small businesses, a lot of the restaurants are really, really dependent on employees returning back to the office, because they go out and get lunch, they go out and get dinners, and that is really big economic stimulus for these people. So all of the investment banks telling their employees to work from home is probably going to be a really big problem. And a lot of people are up in arms and are not too happy about it in New York. And the mayor actually got a lot of heat for speaking out against the decision for these investment banks to require their employees to work from home. Hey, Flex Stream is here. It says bomb cyclone is forming tonight. So what is actually the definition of a bomb cyclone? Does that mean like a big low pressure system comes in from Canada? Is that right? Hey, Joey's here. Says hi, Tom. What's up, Joey? Rich Gordon says, have you heard something meowing from Florida Democrats? Do they still exist? Are they hiding? I'm not too sure what that means, if you could clarify. Star Brother says, employee save the planet, or slave planet. What's going on, Star Brother? This is Canada is here. Good to see you. Marie O says, a lot of people will be unemployed again if that happens, especially those in the restaurant and hospitality industry. Yeah, that's true. So essentially what Mayor Eric Adams said that got him in so much hot water, I should say, is he made a comment that, restaurant workers and low-skilled workers are really dependent on people returning back to the office, right? And I never really thought about it like this, but he made a comment that, he used the term low-skilled. He used the term low-skilled workers. And people didn't like that. The media took that little clip and really ran with it and said, Mayor Eric Adams thinks that all restaurant workers are stupid, which is totally a mischaracterization of what he actually said, in my opinion. He was actually sticking up for restaurant workers, and he was saying, he's like, look, the reality is people work in restaurants, people are chefs, people are dishwashers. And if employees are not returning back to the office in New York City, those people aren't going to have a job. Not everybody has the luxury of working remote. Not everybody has the luxury of working at an investment bank or working in tech where they can work from home. A lot of people have jobs in hospitality that are dependent upon people in these specific industries to return back to work. So I think it's very, very important for people to go back to work. But look, it's a very convoluted and crazy situation, so I'd love to know what you guys think. Hey, Zero Tolerance is here. What's up, Zero Tolerance? It says, tonight a slight chance of showers between 2 a.m. and 4 a.m. Mostly cloudy with the low around 69 degrees. Southeast wind around 5 miles an hour. Very cool. Irivas says, everyone working from home should order lunch from the places they used to eat at. Yeah, that's a good thought there, Irivas. But I think the thing is, I think I was reading a statistic. Hold on, I'm not sure if I should cross this thing. The gate is down. I should never do that, but we just did it anyway. Don't do that. So here's my take on it. I think Irivas is right. If you're going to work from home, you should go out and support those local businesses. But a lot of people, friends that would commute into the city from Long Island, from New Jersey, from Connecticut, and every day we would eat out for lunch at all the local businesses in Midtown. And if you don't have that steady stream of people flowing into Manhattan, what does that mean for the local pizza shop in Midtown Manhattan? It's not good. So I definitely see both sides of the story. And I think people need to go back to work, in my view. Hey, Sophia A says, hey, Tom, you're back. What's up, Sophia? Good to see you. Hope you're well. The Austin Tennis says, it's live, Tom. How's it going? What's going on, Austin Tennis? Good to see you. Yeah, Jared says that intersection is broke. I'll just adjust the camera. Cat B says, I get irritated when people that have the luxury to work from home say, well, I'll go shop. Well, I still have to go shopping. Yeah, that's true, Cat B. Gerald Lee says, hey, Tom, good to see you streaming. I like your new channel name and the 24/7 skateboarding stream. Well, thank you, Gerald Lee. I appreciate you watching. Let me just catch up on some of the comments here. Rocky Left Wing says, good evening, Tom and chat. Good evening. Cat B says, yep, not everybody has the luxury of working from home. Charlie Richardson says, you are so right, Tom. I agree with you 100%. Yeah, but this caused, if anybody was paying attention to New York City local news, this caused an absolute hellfire storm on the new mayor. Obama says, new New York City AG says armed robbery on business is a misdemeanor. Manny Explorer says, I work in hospitality. If I get unemployed again, I might have to take a trip to Florida. Yeah, so Manny, if you work in the hospitality industry, what do you see on the ground floor there in New York? Are things coming back? Is business coming back, or what are you seeing? Yeah, Robert says, dang, almost saw a car/bike collision. NMB 045 says, I don't think investment bankers even have time to prepare a meal in their own kitchen at home. Yeah, many people in investment banking are working 80 hours plus. Dallas says, hey, Tom, are you at an apartment district area? Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of apartment buildings over here. This is a very famous one right here. Yeah, zero tolerance is Tom. Enjoy your time in Southern Florida. Go to Coconut Grove if you get a chance. We definitely will have to. Hey, the Swan is here. What's going on, the Swan? Good to see you. Ethan G says no snow in Florida. You're lucky. Lucas says, hi, Tom. Why did you change the name of the channel? So we changed. I feel like I've been standing at this light for 20 minutes. So we changed the name of the channel because I think over the long term, it's going to be a little bit more fitting for the type of content that we are going to have. And especially if I'm going to be having some special guests on the channel and doing some interviews, I think it's more of a little bit more of a professional name, but we are still going to be keeping the content the same, I could assure you. Swan says, time in Miami and New York City are the same. Yeah, so it's the same time zone. I think only Pensacola, Florida is a different time zone. I think it's about an hour behind. Carrie Henry says, yes, confusing, but recognizing your voice. Good to see you, Carrie. FB says, hey, Tom, what's up, FB? Good to see you. We are here in downtown Miami observing the traffic jams over here. Robert Stevens II is getting upset at the term low-skilled workers as lip service patronizing at its finest. First world problems. Yeah, I agree. And as you guys know, I tend to lean more conservative, right? So I'm definitely by no means a Democrat at all. And I'm even sticking up for Mayor Eric Adams because I think, it does nobody any good when we're trying to get through a global pandemic and the media on the right and the left are just trying to slam dunk and get clicks for their websites. I think that's very disingenuous to the audience. Hey, 357 says, hey, Tom, you changed the channel name. Awesome. Yes, we did. We have a new channel name, but we will keep all the content consistent. Andrea, how are you? Good to see you. Bike No Topo says, say hi to Brazil. Welcome everybody from Brazil. FB says, DeSantis 2024. Viviana says, hello everybody. Chris says, yep, stirring the pot. NG says, I think his comment was taken out of context, but we will see what happens with the politicians. Yeah, I think it was taken totally out of context because essentially what had happened is Mayor Eric Adams did not like the fact that JP Morgan Chase sent out a mass email to all of their New York employees advising them to continue to work from home until January 18th, which is probably going to be kicked down the road even further. And you guys may ask why JP Morgan Chase specifically. Well, because JP Morgan Chase is the largest employer for Manhattan, right? And I believe what Mayor Adams' point is look, if all of these investment bankers, if everybody in tech is going to work remote, what does that mean for the average working class citizen in New York City? Not everybody has the luxury of working from home. So, I think it's a big mess, but I think, corporate America has to do a little bit just trying to look out for their own liability, but, getting things back to normal. Hey, the ABX girls here says, Mayor wants a 3-day work week in the buildings. I think that's a pretty good idea. Crispy. FB says, what's the weather like in Miami right now, Tom? Well, today it was beautiful. It was bright, sunny day, 77 degrees, very little wind and low humidity. NG says, working from home also looks different for everybody, to be fair. Yeah, you're right. And I mean, I think he made a good point. Not everybody has the luxury of working from home. Thiago says, Tom, how old are you? I am 26 years old. So one of the things I noticed about Miami is the traffic is insane at all times of the day. You know, I'm from New York City, and, you know, the traffic is nuts. But here, I think it's way, way worse. Cat B says, Tom, would you move there? I think I would. These dogs are going crazy here. The Swan says, the city is the same without the beeps. Cat B, how are you? The Real World says, I feel the humidity through the screen. So surprisingly, Miami and Southern Florida is not humid during the winter, but during the summer, the humidity is absolutely ridiculous. Pretty crazy. Where they have the very famous Ferris wheel here, so we'll take a little lap around here. FB says, I just noticed the channel name change. I dig it, appreciate it. Well, I hope everybody's doing well, and I hope your 2022 is off to a great start. Benz says, Miami over New York any day. Yeah, I think they're both great cities. You know, I think Miami and New York City are both great cities. Chris B says, is Miami a cesspool of sexual degeneracy? I don't think so, in my opinion. Chris says, yes, St. Augustine is absolutely lovely. You have to go to the Spanish Bakery. We definitely will have to check that out. CB Earth Day says, good evening, Tom. I hope you're doing well. I'm doing very well, CB Earth Day. It's very good to see you, and I hope you're having a great one. Yeah, Cynthia says, I noticed that they just leave the scooters anywhere. They look like rentals. I believe all of the scooters are rentals here. So it's sort of like an Uber for scooters, which is kind of cool. We've never tried it out. Hey, Talvish says, Tom, how are you? I'm doing very, very good. Hope you're well, Talvish. We are here at the Bayside Marketplace. Robert Stevens II says, Miami is a big financial hub. Correct. Yeah, so Miami is not as big of a financial hub as New York City is, but it is getting there. It's definitely growing. And one of the things I would like to point out, if we take a walk, and I think we're probably going to get there today, in the Brickell, that is where all the major investment banks are located in Miami. So we're going to see the Bank of America Merrill Lynch, and I believe we will see JP Morgan Chase. Cynthia says, this is the mall I remember. Yeah, so this is Bayside Marketplace here in downtown Miami. Hey, Rolla Cannoli, how are you? Good to see you. Dallas says, hey, Tom, I love the live stream with you riding the skateboard around New York City. Yeah, so if anybody wants to check out a 24/7, 365 live stream, that is up on the YouTube channel for anybody that wants to check it out. So it's a compilation of skateboarding videos that will be 24/7, 365 on the channel. The ABS girl says, especially with banking in the Caribbean and Latin America markets. FB says, love visiting Lincoln Road in Miami. That is a very, very fun area over there, for sure. Cool on 516, did you see the Christmas lights in St. Augustine? Check it out if you haven't already. I've definitely never seen it, so I'm gonna have to check it out. Hey, John L says, I watched that today. Looks scary as hell. Yeah, it is kind of crazy skateboarding around New York City. You definitely do have to be careful, but I think it's probably my go-to mode of transportation. Chris says, yes, they have a stream from the Martini Bar in St. Augustine. I'm gonna have to check that out. Joseph says, I was born in Fort Lauderdale, now in Jacksonville. Miss the Versalles coffee. Could keep you up for days, Joe. Hey, what's up, Joseph? So I believe that's the Cuban restaurant, if I'm not mistaken. Hey, Lucas says, hey Tom, would I need to show vaccination proof for airplanes? I'm visiting Miami this summer. So as of right now, Lucas, I don't think so. But there has been a lot of talk about mandating vaccination or mandating proof of vaccination for domestic flights. But I'm not sure that is ever going to pass, because I believe there would be a pretty big uproar about that. But President Joe Biden has advised that if he was ever advised by Fauci or any of his counsel, he would implement a domestic flight mandate for vaccines. But I don't think we'll see that. But, you know, it is in the cards for sure. Hey, Fresh Start is here. Good to see you, Fresh Start. Hope your 2022 is off to a fantastic start. Zero Tolerance is nice to see Bayside busy on a Thursday. Yeah, so everybody, every time that we stream, we usually stream very late at night. So everything is usually closed. But since we're starting to stream a little bit early tonight, we get to see a lot of people. And this place looks really good. Usually when we walk through here, everything is closed. But it looks pretty good now. Hey, Cena NSN says hello. How are you? Random. Yeah, there's always the debate between New York and Florida. NNB 045 says, Tom, Peter Schiff debated Bitcoin on RT today with pro-Bitcoin RT contributors, and it went down ugly. It was not fun to watch. Ooh. So even though I disagree with Peter Schiff on almost everything, well, let me rephrase that. I disagree with Peter Schiff in regards to Bitcoin. However, I do agree with Peter Schiff in relation to economic policy, fundamental economic policy. And for those who don't know who Peter Schiff is the CEO and founder of Euro Pacific Capital and Euro Pacific Bank. Hey, April Benson says, I love both New York City and Florida. Same here. Cat B says, I would rather live in Florida over New York. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people say that. I love both. I mean, I think New York City is the greatest city on earth. But I definitely do enjoy Florida. But I think they're both great places. Hey, Juan Carlos Sanchez Garcia says, hey Tom, great start to 2022. Killing the VIXs and UVXY is finally showing love for me. Unfortunately, future's slightly up. Be safe. Hey, thank you, man. Well, be safe for you as well. Yeah, so one of the things I wanted to talk about today on the stream, and I don't think we've ever been on the second floor here, is we've been having a big sell-off or a continuation sell-off in growth names. So any software companies that are trading at very frothy valuations. Ever since the start of the new year, we've been seeing a continuation sell-off. And one of the ways we could track this that has been relatively popular nowadays is watching the ARK funds. And the ARK funds are essentially were created by Kathy Wood, very famous investor that invests in high beta growth stocks. And these things have been just getting killed. And one of the reasons for that is if we've looked at the yield curve in general or interest rates, the 10-year Treasury yield is really, really creeping up. Oh, I think we have to go around the other way. So right now, if anybody pulls up If anybody pulls up a chart of the US 10-year Treasury yield, I believe the 10-year right now is hitting up against the level not yet seen since March of 2021. And that is about 1.75%. So as interest rates move up, we have to understand that a lot of these technology stocks that have a lot of earnings in the future, those earnings when interest rates go up are actually worth less now. So I think we're going to see a little bit of a re-ration in the market as we see this stock market throw a taper tantrum. Hey, CB Earth Day, good to see you as always. Robert Stevens II says, I've had ARK and ARKG for a year and a half, sold off a lot about 3 months ago. Yeah, these ETFs are in really structural decline. So it's never good to try to catch a falling knife, as they say, is the terminology they use on the street. But I think it's very important to see if we could find a little bit of a bottom here, start to form a base, and then move back up in growth stocks. But until we see any sort of a base forming, I would say stay away from these names, especially in an interest rate rising environment. Hey, Cat B says, you are very knowledgeable for 26. Thank you, Cat B. I hope your 2022 is off to a fantastic start. Hey, James Brumley says, Ghost Town. What's up, James Brumley? Good to see you. Michael says, creeping up. Hardly. Yes, well, Michael, pull up a chart of the US 10-year Treasury. And the last time we had a US 10-year at about 1.5%, or 1.7, I think it was today, was back in March of 2021. And I think this could affect the housing market too, because contrary to what a lot of people think, the US 10-year Treasury yield is what's predicated off of home mortgages. So as interest rates move up, we may see a little bit of a correction in the prices of homes and real estate. James Brumley says, I was just wondering where all the people were. Hey, Alan says, weather is one of the top reasons, but not the only one for me. Good to see you, Alan. Hey, Derek says, what cell phone carrier do you use? Connection is great. So I use Verizon. Riggs says, good evening from West Virginia. It's pouring down snow here. You went back to Miami just in time. Hey, good to see you, Riggs. Hope you're well. So we are walking in the Bayside. I think it's called Shops at Bayside. Hey, Warlock says, love your live streams. Thank you. Juan says, thank God I did great in the market in 2021. Unfortunately, my good luck placed me in the 37% federal income tax bracket. I hate taxes. Yeah, I think you and everybody else, man. Well, I mean, here's the thing. You made a lot of money last year, which is great. And that's what matters. That's what matters. And, you know, if that means we have to pay some taxes, you know, we got to pay some taxes. Hey, Jonathan Francis here. Says, good evening. What's up, Jonathan? Warlock says, did Bitcoin just drop 9%? It's very possible. So one of the things that's concerning me about Bitcoin is it's sitting right on its 200-day moving average. So if we crack below the 200-day moving average, we could see a cascading waterfall sell-off in not just Bitcoin, but all cryptocurrencies. NNB045 says, don't you guys have a tax-free investment account like here in Canada? Yeah, so if you invest money in a Roth IRA, You pay taxes before putting the money in, and then the tax or the investment grows tax-free. Hey, Robinhood, a free Robinhood stocks is Roth IRA, absolutely. Nicholas Persad says, hey Tom, pleasant night and good evening. Night Fights Day says, I am not investing in something that is unstable and unpredictable. No, thank you. You can lose your money at any time. Agreed. Cynthia Beal, how are you? Night Fights Day says cryptocurrency is garbage. I'm not sure if I agree with that, but I would definitely respect that opinion for sure. What's up, Kevin? Stephanie says it's so alive in Miami tonight. How are you, Stephanie? April Benson, good to see you. Hope you're well. Has a really good voice. Hey, Edson says buenas noches. Hey, what's up, Melee? Nicholas Persad, how are you? Nicholas says, honestly, I would prefer to invest in real estate moving forward. Crypto investments takes time, and I'm not getting any younger at 30. Interesting take. Andrew, Kevin Lee says, when did you go leave New York City to go to Miami? I just got back 2 days ago. April Benson says, doing wonderful, Tom. Thanks for asking. Hope you're doing well. I'm doing really good. Antonio says, love the music. I love it too. Hey, Andre Brown says, hello, Tom. How's the weather down there? The weather is great. It was 77 degrees, bright sun. Hey, Jason FTO. What's up, Jason? How are you? John L says, rental vacancies are at an all-time low. Michael says, I have some REITs with some good dividends. Yeah, that's always good to have exposure to some real estate assets for sure. So for those of you in the chat that don't know, a REIT stands for a real estate investment trust. Well, there's a lot more people than I remember here. It never used to be this packed. Or maybe it's just because I stream so late at night. I always like looking at the palm trees. The palm trees are my favorite. Sarah Jesus, crypto/Bitcoin was the highest performing asset class in 2021. Indeed it was. Absolutely it was. Hey, Glenn Daly says, hey Tom, best wishes for the year ahead from London. Looking forward to checking in for the latest info with the exchanges and international stocks, etc. And as usual, the beautiful sights and sounds of Miami. Well, thank you so much. Yeah, Jonathan France says the Miami real estate market is crazy. It really is. And historically, Miami or Southern Florida real estate in general has been Hey, photos from around New York, good to see you. Hope you're well, photos. Yeah, Manny Explorer says palm trees are a good vibe. Definitely agree. Sarah G says real estate is great, but isn't the population projected to fall in the coming years? Yeah, so population is projected to fall, but I think for me, I think if we're thinking about investments, I think the number one thing humans need besides food is shelter, right? So if you can create an environment for yourself where you have shelter and you can also turn your home into an income producing asset. You're young, maybe you don't have that much money, maybe you buy a house and then you house hack it where you have roommates to pay your mortgage for you. And then in 20 years, you have the house paid off and you didn't pay a dime for it. I think that is really good. And I think that is a good move. Because essentially, in order to live life, you need a place to live and you need food to eat. Check out all the traffic here, everybody. It's like this every day in Miami. I've never seen traffic like this in my life. Cat Beast says, I guess everybody is vacationing to Florida. Nicholas Persad says, I believe Bitcoin will go up as usual. However, like I said, it takes time. Yeah, Cynthia Martinez says, food insecurity is a real thing, 100%. Daniel Mack says, Bitcoin has done extremely well for me. It's done extremely well for me too. Hawkey13 says, Tom, walking on the treadmill in feels like -11 in Chicago. The sights and sounds are warming me up. Well, Chicago's a great city, but it is freezing and it is windy there. Rock Band 5 Million says, where are you going to next, Tom? So right now we are going to walk through all of this crazy traffic to Brickell. And that is the financial center of Miami. Wow, I could never have a car here. Could you imagine driving in this? Jason FTO says, do you speak Spanish? I speak a little bit of Spanish. Sarah G says, for sure, having a house is great. Real estate has great value socially and physically. Flexstream says, Bangkok on Friday afternoon. Now that is real traffic. Cynthia Beal says, where is AOC? I don't know. British Grace says, Miami, Florida is the new hotspot for out-of-towners. Gemma says it's -3 here in Ireland. Wow. I never knew it got that cold in Ireland. Hey, everybody, we have Shot by Scott here. Good to see you, Shot by Scott. Thank you for the warm welcome back. You were the man. Shot by Scott says, Tom, welcome back to the 305, bud. We miss you in the brick. What's up, Scott? So everybody, for those of you who don't know, Shot by Scott is a very, very talented photographer right here from the Miami-Dade County area. So if you haven't checked out his work yet, please do. Shot by Scott. Hey, what's up, Tony M? Good to see you. Free Robinhood stocks says, do you work in New York City or Miami? I work in both cities, so I split my time 50-50 between New York City and Miami. Eka says, biggest reason driving sucks in Miami is because they have no solid good alternative for the infrastructure besides driving. Jay Gator says, can you try to hit the major banks in Brickell tonight? We definitely will. I think this is my favorite building in all of Miami right here. Ren1018 says, Tom, what do you think of the start of the markets this year? So I think that if we look historically, because in the United States, for those of you on the stream, we have a lot of people that are foreigners that are watching the stream, which is great. So I just want to preface this by saying in the United States, we have a midterm election year. Okay, so 2022 is going to be the midterm elections in the United States. And that is extremely, extremely critical to take into consideration when we're trying to evaluate equities prices in 2022. Because if we look back historically, anytime we have a midterm election year, the first half of the year always has negative equity returns, or the US equities markets are roughly flat. Okay, so very rarely do we have positive returns for the first half of the year. And I think that's because, investors are trying to figure out, is the Senate or is the House going to flip to the Republicans or the Democrats, or is it going to be gridlock or whatever? Because if we look back, not all the time, but by and large, Wall Street actually wants to see a gridlock in politics. Wall Street does not want politicians to get anything done because that could mean more regulations, more rules, and things like that. So usually in midterm election years, Q3 and Q4 are very positive for equity returns. Cynthia Martinez says, be grateful you live in America. Absolutely. Free markets, roll on. Robert Stevens II says, I always mean to sell a Roth and buy Yom Kippur. Oh, sell on Rosh. So I thought you were talking about Roth. Yeah, that is a Jewish holiday. Hey, Tommy C says, hey, where's your skate bro? So we're going to have the skateboard very soon. But for all of those who are watching the stream who want to see some footage of me skateboarding around New York City, if you click on my channel, I actually put up a 24/7, 365 live stream of skateboarding around New York City. So if you ever want to, leave that on while you're working or, doing some work or studying, feel free to do that. Lucas says, is New York City bigger than Miami? I'm actually not sure about that now. It could be very close to the same in terms of population. Jose says, is that Bayside? Yeah, so we just finished walking around Bayside. So Bayside is all the way over here, and it stretches all the way to the big Ferris wheel here. Hey, Commando says, I've been there last month. How'd you like it? Sarah G says, it was so fun. I checked it out yesterday. Photos from around New York says New York City is larger. James is nice and warm there in downtown Miami. It's great. Vlado says, your opinion on crypto Ethereum currency worth investing now? So anytime we sort of talk about cryptocurrency investments on the channel, I always like to give the comparison to what sort of big Wall Street analysts are saying. And I'll tell you what I mean by that. So back in 2013, you could not find one major money manager or major asset manager or investment advisor on Wall Street that would recommend their clients buying any cryptocurrencies. You couldn't find one of them. But now, look at the narrative change. If you turn on CNN, or CNBC, excuse me, hopefully you're not turning on CNN or Fox News. Those are the two worst news networks on earth. But if you're looking at CNBC, or maybe you're reading some analyst reports from Goldman Sachs, Deutsche Bank, HSBC, whatever, Jefferies, a lot of these money managers are telling their high net worth clients to allocate at least 2% of their net worth to Bitcoin and Ethereum, or cryptocurrency in general. Think about that. So imagine 10 years from now. My bet is that 10 years from now, money managers are going to be forecasting to their high net worth clients to allocate at least 10% of their overall net worth to cryptocurrencies. So just imagine the overall growth in terms of market cap just from that alone. So depending on your time horizon, I would say I think it's probably smart to have at least some exposure to Bitcoin or Ethereum, but that's sort of how I look at it. David says, I like Tucker Carlson. Yeah, it was mainly just a joke. I'm just joking around. I watch CNN, I watch Fox News sometimes. Just joking around. Sarah G says, high gas prices on ETH are an issue. That is true. So for people who don't know, if you want to send Ethereum, you have to pay a fee. And that is called like your gas. It's called gas. Enzo says, hello, Tom from Argentina. Welcome. Miss Mo says, hello, got here a little late. Good to see you, Miss Mo. I hope you're doing really well. Robert Stevens II says, everything lives on top of Ethereum network. Businesses continue to pay insane ETH gas fees in the hundreds of dollars. Yeah, that is true. And that has been one of the main problems with Ethereum, is something called scalability. Is this going to be able to scale for real world use cases? Right? So, I mean, we'll see. There's a lot of interesting projects in the cryptocurrency space, but just for full transparency, I only have allocation to Bitcoin and Ethereum. Hey, Tony M is here, says, hey, Tom, have you ever been to Naples, Florida? I've never been to Naples, Florida, but that's like the third time somebody recommended me go there. So here we are at the Metro Mover. One of the things about Miami is it looks like a futuristic city with the trains snaking in and out of the city. Kind of looks cool. Hey, the Mighty Bull is here. What's up, Mighty Bull? Good to see you. The Mighty Bull is checking in. Hello, Tom, and moderators and friends from around the world. What's going on? Vaughn says, hey, Tom, shouting you out from Trinidad and Tobago. Beautiful weather in Miami. Season 48 says, evening, Tom. What's up, 48? 48 is joining us from New Zealand. Cheryl's here. Hey, Cheryl. Good to see you. Tony M says, Naples, Florida is the rich Florida. So, Tony, I also heard that Sunny Isles Beach is very, very wealthy as well. And I live very close to Sunny Isles Beach, probably only about 2 miles away. And every time I'm in Sunny Isles, the buildings are amazing. I'm not sure how they could build such monstrosity on top of the water. Lucas, that's hilarious, man. Jonathan C says, hello, Tom. I see that a lot of New Yorkers are in Miami. Is that right? Yeah, so I mean, one of the reasons why I chose to have a second location in Southern Florida is because Southern Florida is inhabited by a lot of New Yorkers. So a lot of people from Brooklyn, Bronx, Queens, Long Island, all come and live here. I think New York City is the greatest city in the world. And Miami is a close second, in my opinion. Hey, Carol H says, hi, Tom. How did you find your property? So, Carol, I was actually looking for over 5 years. As crazy as that may sound. I was looking for about 5 years, and the neighborhood that I was actually looking at is called Normandy Shores or Normandy Isles. Not sure if anybody here knows what that is, but I was looking at some places there about 3 or 4 years ago, and now I couldn't even afford that if I tried. So it's crazy to see how the real estate market has shifted here in southern Florida. Mr. O says, greetings, Tom. Greetings, Mr. O. William Lima says, hello, everybody from Brazil. You know what's kind of cool? I was looking at the YouTube analytics, and I have a lot of Brazilian viewers. So thank you, everybody from Brazil, for watching. I really do appreciate it. James Davidson says, never been to Miami, but I've been to Orlando back in 2003. Very cool. Cool on 516 says it's hard to find a native Floridian nowadays. That is true. Free Robin Hood Stock says, did you go to college? I did go to college. I went to college in New York City at John Jay College of Criminal Justice. Sammy Pay says, I know Normandy Shores, good golf course there. Yeah, so I was looking at a house literally right on the golf course. But now all of those houses doubled, if not tripled in price, literally, and are selling in the millions. So can't do that anymore. I wish, but can't do that. Hey, Rocky Rodriguez is here. What's up, Rocky? Good to see you again. Jonathan Francis, similar to Manhattan rental market. Yeah, Jonathan, you're spot on with that one. So Jonathan, it was funny. We were actually walking around the Brickell the other day, and we're going to be there in a second, or maybe in like 5 minutes. And for a studio apartment, the rent was $3,000 a month for a studio apartment in Miami. Can you believe that? That's insane. It's insane. Wow, check out these palm trees here. Hey, Robin. Robin is here. What's up, Robin? Rothstein says hi. Good to see you. Hope you're well. Asia Unscripted is here. Oliver John says Miami is like the New York City of the South. Is that right? I think you could say that. Very similar in some ways. Lisa says when you go snorkeling in Miami, it is gorgeous. I agree. Marie O says my niece is on Brickell. It's beautiful over there, but it's very expensive. The Austin Tennis says, when will Tom be returning to John Jay to become a sales and investing instructor? I don't think anytime soon. John Jay is not. Let's just say they're not probably not too happy with me, but I have nothing bad to say about John Jay. I got a good education. James Davidson says very expensive to live in New York City as well. Indeed. Jack says, why did you change your name from Wall Street Scaperow to Walks in Wall Street? Well, one of the reasons why I changed the name is because this year we are going to be having some special guests on the stream. Some very notable hedge fund managers, investment bankers. And I think in order for maybe new viewers to take it a little bit more seriously, we needed a little bit more professional of a name, perhaps. But we still will have the same content. We're still going to be skateboarding. We're still going to be talking about finance and tech. But we just have a little bit of a name change. Wow, so Marie O says it's really small, Tom. 2 bed for over $600,000. Very cool. Cat B says, do you know anything about the Toronto Stock Exchange? Yeah, absolutely. I think the Austin Tennis worked there at one point. LWC says there are so many scooters in Miami. Yeah, there is an incredible amount of scooters here in downtown Miami that you could rent. But Jack, it's good to see you. Hey, Wilfredo is here from the Dominican Republic. Bronx. Very cool. Hostos Community College, I believe, is in the South Bronx. I've been there a couple times. I think you have, what is it? Hostos Community College, and then you have BMCC, Borough Manhattan Community College, which is, I believe it's right by the World Trade Centers, I believe. Yeah, free Robinhood stock says Tesla had a recall on over 500,000 cars. It's a very, very big recall. So check out the view from here. All of these apartments are all luxurious apartments, very expensive. Sarah G says recalls are fairly common in vehicles. Jonathan France is beautiful. Vike says, which one do you live in? So I live in North Miami Beach. I do not live here. Nicholas Persad says, I did some research and one of the cheapest states to live is North Carolina. Hey, Ruby Falcone is here. What's up, Ruby? Good to see you. So one of the other big debates that's going on right now in New York City is whether to keep the public schools open. So the new mayor, Eric Adams, is in a grueling battle with the New York City public schools because a lot of the teachers unions want to close the public schools. But what a lot of people don't understand is that, you know, it may seem logical to close New York City public schools, but what a lot of people don't realize is that many students or many kids within the New York City public school system rely on schools for food. You know, and a lot of people don't think about that, but many of the students that are high school age or middle school age, even elementary school, they need to be in school because that is really their daycare. You know, their parents cannot afford to stay home and take care of them. And a lot of students rely on going to school for meals. So a lot of people are attacking Eric Adams because he wants to keep the schools open. So this is, I think, a decision that I actually really agree with him on. Hey, Newbie K, good to see you. How are you, Newbie K? KG says, I work as a junior equity analyst for an energy fund here in Canada. Is it true that getting into investment banking, AM, hedge fund in America is almost near impossible without strong connections or a degree from a top 20? So I think you're right in some ways. I think if you want to break into getting a job on Wall Street, a lot of the times the major investment banks such as Goldman Sachs, you know, any of the bulge brackets, right? So any of the like JP Morgan Chase, you know, Goldman, these are called the bulge bracket investment banks. And a lot of the times they recruit students out of the top 20 schools. So these can include the Ivy League schools. You can think about a Duke or a Vanderbilt. So by and large, I think you're right. But it's not impossible to work on Wall Street in investment banking, sales and trading, or mergers and acquisition, really whatever you want to do. It's not a necessity, but it does help. I think the number one thing above education, above, you know, what school you went to, above what grades you earned in college, is who you know. So I think if you're a research analyst at a bank right now, I would spend all of your time networking, right? I would try to make as many connections as possible within your own industry, because, you know, if you talk to your manager, you know, he probably knows somebody that works in America at Deutsche Bank or at Goldman Sachs or at BNY Mellon or UBS or Neuberger. If you can network with them, you know, maybe the person that you're networking with may not be able to afford you an opportunity, but maybe a person that he knows or somebody else that he knows. So the number one thing you need to focus on is growing your network, right? You should always be trying to meet new people. That is the number one thing, in my opinion, that will land you a job on Wall Street or in tech sales, or, you know, as a software engineer or an enterprise software sales, really any of the big high paying industries. You need to be able to network. But I think you're on the right track. I think you're on the right track 100%. Hey, great walks. My cousin moved from Argentina to Miami 3 months ago. He got a great job as soon as he got there. That's awesome. KG says, yeah, I was able to get into a middle market fund here in Canada as a non-target through just connections plus a CFA. No way I could have landed that without networking. You're definitely right. Yeah, and I mean, so if that's what you want to do, you know, I would just spend all of my time focusing on networking with people who do that already, right? So I'm not sure exactly what you want to do. If you, like, what department of the investment bank do you want to work in? Do you want to work in M&A? Do you want to be in sales and trading? Hey, Georgie's here, says lovely memories for game. What's up, Georgie? Or George? Robert Stevens II says networking is important for sure. So this is the Wells Fargo Center, speaking of Wall Street. Elon Musk says, Tom, do you see the NFTs more reliable than the metaverse being today, January 6th? I'm not sure what you mean by that, Elon Musk. D3 Woo 11 says, I learned a lot from your dialogue. You have a very clear speaking style with great tempo. Thanks from Toronto and keep it up. Hey, thank you for the kind words. I really do appreciate that very much. Robert Stevens II says, Taylor Swift's dad was at Goldman Sachs. Nice guy. Met with him while I was working on building her airplane hangar in Nashville. Well, that is a crazy story. I never knew that. That's insane. That's awesome. Theo says, as a 100% skateboarder, I'm still hyped on your channel and respect the name change. Really great content and camera work. Hey, Theo Han. So what I did, because I know we don't stream a lot on the skateboard as much as we used to, if you click on my channel, Walks in Wall Street, I have a 24/7, 365 live stream of only skateboarding videos around New York City. So if anybody wants to check that out, it is going to be up on my channel 24/7, 365 of just skateboarding through New York City. Lenny says, what is the temperature in Miami tonight? I believe it's probably right around 70 degrees. Stephen Cruz says, where are those 24/7 night COVID spread nightclub? That was a couple blocks back. You missed that. You may have to rewind it just a little bit. John L says, GME after hours said they are getting into crypto and NFT stock jumped 30%. Very interesting. KG says Canada is much easier to get into than the United States for these types of roles though. US recruiting is very elitist. You seem like a pretty polished guy. You work in Wall Street. No, so actually, surprisingly, you know, we do talk about Wall Street a lot on the channel. However, I actually do not work in investment banking. I work in enterprise tech sales. So what I wanted to do originally out of college is work on Wall Street in sales and trading. You know, I wanted to sit at an equities desk in the sales and trading department at a major investment bank, but I actually found myself going into tech sales, which is actually just as lucrative, but a little bit less time consuming as traditional investment banking. And then I may want to branch off into more DevOps work. Hey, Jimmy Anderson, good to see you. What's up, Jimmy? So everybody, Jimmy Anderson is the host of the Beer and Bets podcast. Good to see you, Jimmy Anderson. Hey, 2010 Andrew says, hi, Tom. Now in Miami, someday you were in New York. Yeah, so we split our time about 50-50 between Miami and New York City. So we will be streaming live from New York City as well as Miami on this channel. Hey, Jimmy Anderson says, great to see you, man. The change of your channel name confused me a little bit. Yeah, so we have a different name on the channel, but content will continue to be the same. So check out this building here, the City National Bank building in Miami. Beautiful. Vikes says, Tom, which state do you prefer? So I don't really want to get too political, but I guess what I'll say is that I prefer New York State, mainly because I was born and raised in New York State, but I do not like the political climate that's been going on in New York. Hence why I decided to buy a piece of real estate or a piece of investment property in Miami as opposed to my native location of Long Island, New York, which is a little bit sad when I think about it, because I would much rather buy something close to my family and my friends, but egregious politics in New York and the corruption of the Nassau County scammers are preventing that measure. Hey, Marilyn's here. Says, I got nervous with your skateboard. New York City is not set up for skating and bikes away from traffic and pedestrians. I worry about head and other bodily industries. Walking is better and safer. I'm a nurse. Yeah, so I don't think you're wrong about that. I think you're spot on. We have taken some pretty nasty spills on the skateboard for sure. KG says, what's the average rent in New York City? I mean, that's a really broad question, because you could be in, Brooklyn or the Bronx and get much, much cheaper rent than you would being in Manhattan. So I guess I'll just go based off of living in Manhattan. Probably gonna run you around $2,000 or more. Oh, check out this yacht thing here. This thing is crazy. Hey, Norm C says, is this still Wall Street, bro? This is. So this is still Wall Street skate, bro. Cat B says, describe what is tech sales for us who don't know? So I think tech sales or software sales could be very, very broad-based. So for example, let's say if you're an enterprise software sales selling CRM solutions, right? So customer relationship management solutions. Well, then you would probably think about a company like Salesforce. And Salesforce is a company, the CEO, or let's say if you're selling cybersecurity software, maybe you are selling cybersecurity in America, then maybe you work at a company like CrowdStrike or Zscaler, Okta, Symantec, something like that. Every department, just like in the investment banking, you could be either in the back office or you could be in the front office. So if you could either be a software engineer, you could be in product development, you could be in HR, or you could be on a frontline sales team on the sales side. So you could be actively prospecting clients and selling different software products to these companies. And enterprise software sales specifically, and even sometimes enterprise hardware sales, could be extremely, extremely lucrative, very similar compensation to bulge bracket investment banking. So right here, there's actually faces in these columns, which is pretty unique. KG says, I used to work at Salesforce when I was customer service rep for my first finance job at Questrade. Oh, you used Salesforce. Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, pretty much everybody now uses Salesforce. But Salesforce is actually, they don't only sell CRM or customer relationship management tools. Now I think they just acquired Slack, which was a formerly publicly traded company under the ticker symbol WORK, W-O-R-K, and that product sort of competes with Microsoft Teams. Hey, Robert says, I'm an electrician. We have custom software for control programs, programmable logic controllers that cost tens of hundreds of thousands of dollars a piece. Very cool. Hey, Gabriel Laurie says, I work at Con Edison in New York City. That's awesome. Gabriel Laurie says, I grew up in the Bronx. MKC update says, Hell Walk and Wall Street. Still remember me? Do you move from New York City to Miami? How long by plane to get there? Yeah, of course I remember you, man. It's about a 2.5 hour plane ride. So it's not bad. It's really, really not bad at all. It's about 2.5 hours from JFK to Miami International, or I could fly right into Fort Lauderdale. So now we are in Brickell, which is the Wall Street of Miami. So this is the Bank of America Merrill Lynch building right here. Elon Musk says, Tom, have you heard of ARM processors? Absolutely. So the reason why I'm familiar with ARM is because I used to work with SoftBank. And SoftBank is a Japanese conglomerate that invests in a lot of technology companies. And one of SoftBank's major investments was, number one, a company by the name of Sprint, which was a major telecommunications company that now merged with T-Mobile. But they also have major investments in ARM, which is a British-based chip company. Hey, Tico One and Only says, Miami Vice, how are you? Yeah, Jay Gator says, we got Bank of America, Citi, and Wells Fargo so far. 2010 Andrew says, some months ago on Miami were on a blackout by a cyclone. Hey, San Miguel is here. Says hello, everybody. Hello, Tom. What's up, San Miguel? And everybody, we got the one and only Sanjeev. What's up, Sanjeev? Good to see you. Says good evening, Tom. Hope you're well, Sanjeev. John L says, yeah, Florida is great. West Coast Street, St. Pete's Beach. Hey, Chill Beats to Chill is here. Says, hi, how's everybody doing? Vike says, I worked at Merrill. Lots of nepotism. You could imagine. So what'd you do at Merrill? KG says, do you ever work around Brooklyn and the Bronx at all? I'm not sure if you mean walk or work, so I'll answer both questions. So KG, yes. At my last job before I quit, I actually was in tech sales, selling predominantly into the healthcare sector in New York City. So I spent a lot of my time in the Bronx and in Brooklyn, mainly because that is where the vast majority of home healthcare agencies are. So my job was to sell EVV software and medical recording software to these companies, as well as traditional telecommunications. So I was very, very successful in selling pretty much all of the major home healthcare agencies in New York City. All of these solutions. So I had to spend much of my time in the Bronx, in Brooklyn, doing product implementations, product demos. So I did spend a lot of my time in the Grand Concourse in the Bronx, as well as East New York, Brooklyn. Cat B says, is there rules moving to different states? I think there's some in terms of taxes. MKC Updates is walking Wall Street. Do you like trading? What app? Very benefit, few losses. Well, I'm not sure the application has to do anything with losing or making money. But if you're asking me what broker dealer I use Interactive Brokers and Charles Schwab. I would advise to stay away from all of the Robin Hoods of the world. I think it's nothing but trouble. Chris says, Tom, today Tom was conversing while the skate streaming was running. Yeah, so if anybody wants to chill and relax on a live stream 24 hours a day, feel free to join the 24-hour live stream, skateboarding live stream on the channel at any time. Hey, Tico says Miami, one and only. What's going on? Hey, War Walker's here. War Walker, I am back in the 305. Good to see you, War Walker. Robert. Yes, Cynthia says, Karen, call the manager. The Austin Tennis says, do you find it comical when people interact in the 24/7 feed chat like it's live? Yeah, so I'm in there a lot of the times that we're talking about pretty much anything. But a lot of the times people will ask me, hey, is this live? And I'm like, no, it's just a pre-recorded video. KG says, so do you do these walks after you're done working? That's some dedication right there. Yeah, so I work all day and we stream all night, and I think it's a blast. I have a really, really good time, and it actually helps me a lot with work because it's something to look forward to. Hey, Cherry Blossom Girl is here. Says, hey Tom, is New York having to wear a mask? So New York, I believe, has a mask mandate for indoor activities. So everybody, here's another financial building right here in downtown or in Brickell. This is the SunTrust building. And this is the Merrill Lynch building. Somebody says, what's the best way to travel in Miami? I would say by skateboard. I'm going to be pretty biased on that, but Marilyn says, are you hopeful with Eric Adams will do better than de Blasio? I am more to the right. Crime going up, subways out of control. Yeah, so here's what I'll say about that, and that's actually was supposed to be the topic of the stream today. We were talking about what Eric Adams had said that caused so much controversy in New York City. So essentially, Eric Adams had made a comment that it is important for everybody to go back to work in New York City because not everybody has the luxury of working from home, right? And I never really thought about it like this before, but you know, a lot of people who have the luxury of working from home and making a good income from home, like myself, we really don't understand and we really don't think about how us working from home will affect other people. And so what do I mean by that? You know, I used to travel to Midtown Manhattan every single day and go to work on 45th Street and 6th Avenue every day. I used to go to the office every single day. So when I would go to the office in the morning, I would get a cup of coffee. During my lunch break, I would go out and get lunch with all my coworkers or clients. And then for dinner, a lot of the times I'd be taking clients out to eat in the city. So all of that is economic activity. So could you imagine all of those people that used to go into the offices in Manhattan are no longer doing that? Well, what does that mean for the small businesses and restaurant workers, right? They're probably taking an absolute bath from the loss of revenue from the workers commuting into the city every day. So what Eric Adams was saying, the only thing he said was low income and low skilled workers depend on people going back to work. But the thing is, a lot of people didn't low skill, right? Which I understand, you know, maybe it wasn't the best choice of words, but he was actually trying to stick up for restaurant workers and small businesses. He wasn't trying to insult anybody. He's trying to say, look, not everybody is a rock star and has the ability to work from home. So people need, so we can have more economic activity for everybody, not just the top 1%. And I think I would agree with that. And it's very, very rare for me to agree with a Democrat politician, but in this case, I think he's spot on. Hey, Dr. Ray. KG says, damn, so you write off all those dinners with clients as business expenses. Yeah, so we had a company credit card where we could go out and take clients out to dinner and things like that. Daniel says, in November, Amazon quit accepting payments from credit card issues by British banks, stating the fees were too high. Decentralized finance is the future. I agree. So I think DeFi will disrupt many, many industries, including traditional investment banking. Coffee, Travel, Food says, I like Eric Adams and have to agree with him. The last lockdown proved catastrophic for small businesses, and Corona is not going away. Agreed 100%. John L. says, saw his press conference. He said he bought a Buddha for his backyards, a Buddha for his backyard, and meditates in front of it daily. Vinny Castellanos' wife and I are watching and learning. What's up, Vinny Castellano? MKC says, walking Wall Street. How much ticket price of the plane? It's usually around $49 to $55 to commute from New York City to Miami. Hey, City Center. Scott, you know what? I'm going to message you on IG. You got to show me around. You have to show me around Wynwood, because I can never find my way there. Every time we try to go there, I get lost. And I want to check out all of the art. And being from New York, I don't really know my way around. But I think because he was a former NYPD officer, so he's not into all of this politically correct BS, and he's going to do what needs to do to get the job done. And for that, I have a lot of respect for him. Jonathan Francis, tell the Hamilton story. Yeah, so I don't really know too much about Broadway shows or anything like that. I'm actually quite oblivious to it. So back in the day, a big executive of a major home healthcare agency, I was out to lunch with them, and he said, hey, I really want to go see Hamilton with my wife. And I'm like, yeah, no big deal. I'm like, I'll just buy you the tickets. I'm like, who cares? And he was so stunned. He's like, are you serious? He's like, no way. I'm like, yeah, dude, no problem. I got you. I'll buy you 2 tickets to Hamilton. No big deal. I was trying to close the deal. We were implementing a lot of products for him. He's a great guy, big executive at a big healthcare company. And I had no idea that the Hamilton tickets were over $1,000 each. I couldn't believe it. So when I go to buy the tickets, my jaw falls on the floor, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to get fired. And my boss was not happy, let's just say that. And it was not I was not feeling too well for that month, let's just say that. Because, look, I thought Broadway play, $50, whatever. But a couple grand later, and I was very nervous, to say the least. Let's just say that. Because I had no idea. I had absolutely no idea that they cost that much. And I promised this guy I'd buy him and his wife tickets to see Hamilton. LWC says, watching with the wife and kids. So interesting. Well, thank you for watching. I hope you're enjoying Miami. A shot by Scott says, Bushwick seems like a postage stamp compared to the breadth and depth of the street art in Wynwood. Yeah, I'm really excited about seeing it, but I've never got a chance to actually explore it, so I'm pretty excited to see it. Hey, Zachary K, how are you? Jay Knowles says, did you close the deal? I did. It was a big deal too. Massive deal. Elon Musk says, what do you think about what happened to the tennis player? So I think there was a very famous tennis player that got denied access to what's it called? I don't follow tennis that much, but I believe he got denied because he didn't have the coronavirus vaccine. Is that correct? Meep109 says, do you like Miami better? I think I like New York City and Miami about the same. It's definitely much better weather here. Yeah, it's
100%.
It's all right. Are you from Miami?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people, people are coming up to me saying Miami's better, but I mean, look, I'm biased because I'm from New York, so I'm biased. Yeah, Jonathan Francis, the Australian Open. So look, I mean, you guys know I'm not a big fan of vaccine mandates. I don't agree with them. But, I mean, at the end of the day, I guess what, he can't compete in the competition? Is that what it is? Okay, Elon Musk says they did not let him enter Australia because he was not vaccinated. Look, I think it's crazy, but that's just my opinion. I think it's crazy, but at the end of the day, I mean, if he wants to make a statement, I just wouldn't have played in the games in the first place. Marie O says, did the tickets affect your commission? No, it did not, which was good. And NB045 says the Hamilton type issue. That's why people study the CFA exam. Ethical issues everywhere in business. Yeah, I mean, I think, a lot of sales is about relationships, right? And I don't think there's anything unethical about, buying a client tickets to a show. But I definitely understand what you're getting at. But if you're in a sales environment, that's what you do, is you take clients out to dinner. That's what you do. And in banking too, if you're in investment banking, you spend the majority of your time, especially if you're on a deal, you spend the majority of your time taking out clients to dinners and golfing and things like that. That's just how business is done. Yeah, Marie, I know, Mario, yeah, I honestly had no idea. I thought he was just like the Lion King, $50. Marilyn says, did you work with visiting nurse service in New York? Yes, I did. Visiting nurse service in New York, Ultimate Care, Preferred Gold, all of them, yeah. A lot of them are my friends, still to this day. D Woods says, why are you calling yourself Walks with Wall Street? I just think it may be a little bit more fitting name for the channel, because as of late, we have been walking a little bit more than skateboarding. So number one, I didn't really want to feel like I'm false advertising, number one. But number two, this year on the channel, we may be having some special guests on. And I think this name is just a tad bit maybe more, I guess, professional, maybe for people to take it more seriously. But we will still be keeping all the content consistent. Jonathan France says maybe a new Rolly every now and then. I don't even have a watch. But then again, my friend gave me a watch last weekend. But nothing expensive. I don't own any expensive jewelry at all. I just don't understand jewelry at all. Jay Gator says Argentina team was kicked out of the World Cup. Wow. So I think that's a Rolls Royce. Pretty nice vehicle. Great walks is what? That's not true about Argentina. I just was reading a comment. I have no idea. I mean, even though I played college soccer, I don't follow soccer at all anymore, which is kind of terrible. I should. But ever since the pandemic, I don't follow any sports anymore at all. So this is KPMG if you want to think about management consulting. You can think about KPMG, Deloitte, Ernst & Young, all the major consulting firms. They still have the Christmas tree up here. Hey, what's up, the Swan? Good to see you. Hope you're well. Control Cam says, I know it's Miami. What street? So I actually don't know. I'm not too familiar with the geography of Miami, but I believe we are in Brickell. But maybe if Shot by Scott is here, he could advise. Ruby Falcone says, nice. The guy has his dog at the outdoor dining. How cool. Yeah, things definitely feel a little bit more open here as opposed to New York City for sure. Yeah, Elon Musk, look, I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. I'm not in favor of the mandates at all. KG says most of the buildings in Miami by the beach were funded by the drug trade of the 80s. I was actually watching a documentary on that not too long ago. So I believe this is one of the new Lamborghini, what is it called? Like the SUVs or something like that? Robert Stevens II says, do you have any creative outlets, Tom? I like to play electronic piano, keyboard, badly. I guess my creative outlet is maybe streaming and just skateboarding. I don't know. Maybe playing soccer. Yeah, so this is supposedly what, a famous place? Moxie's or something? I've never been here, but supposedly it's famous. I don't know. Hey, Marjan Worldwide is here. Says, what's up, Tom? What's up, Marjan? Robert Stevens II says skateboarding, of course. Hey, CCG says a local from Miami. FYI, all of the Miami was built on mafia, drug money, Russian mob, etc. That's really interesting. I never knew that. But, you know, you could say the same thing about New York. I mean, you know, my family is in the construction business in New York City, and I could tell you with a matter of fact that pretty much all of the construction, the iron workers, the operating engineers is all the Italian mafia. So if you want to think about racketeering, all that stuff, New York City was built on all of that. You could think about the Gambino crime family, all of it. I love the facade here. Like the side of this building is beautiful. Hey, Chill Dude 30, thank you for joining the stream. Appreciate it. Just looking forward to receiving great content. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it very much. Roly Cannoli says the politicians are greased. So this is Mary Brickell Village, the heart of Brickell. We'll walk down here a little bit. We haven't seen it. Sanjeev's is great architecture. It is very different here than New York. KG says lucky Luciano. So lucky he avoided the hits on him and died of natural causes. Yeah, so my family, when they came to America, we were in the bar business. So we were in the liquor and alcohol business. My family owned a lot of the speakeasy bars near Times Square. And during Prohibition, it's, funny, my great-grandfather would actually serve a lot of the police officers when they were off duty. So the police officers would get off their shifts and come to my great-grandfather's bar. Kind of funny. Sarah G says, that's funny, mine too. Very cool. Obama says, my cousin was the head of electrical union in New York City. That's awesome. San Miguel says, so Tom, you are Irish descent. So I'm 50-50 mix Irish-Italian. But my family came here from County Mayo, Ireland. And they arrived right here in Ellis Island. Hey, Avio22 says, greetings from West Virginia. Welcome everybody from West Virginia. Does anybody know what this one is called? Is this anything special? It looks kind of cool. I think it's a Porsche, I believe. Hey, Alex has stopped by the bar Negroni that my daughter works there. Oh, very cool. Maybe we'll do that one day. I'm not too sure. I'm still getting accustomed to Miami. I just moved here, so I'm not too sure where everything is. Hey, BB223. What's up, BB223? Good to see you. So everybody, just a quick recap of today's topic of the stream. We were talking about interest rates. We need to keep our eye on that 10-year U.S. Treasury yield. And the 10-year yield, I believe, is bouncing up right against 1.7%. And that is the highest interest rate we've seen on the U.S. 10-year yield, Treasury note since March of 2021. And as we know, a lot of the tech stocks have been selling off as of late. And technology companies are very, very interest rate sensitive because a lot of high growth tech companies, their valuations are predicated on their earnings in the future. So when interest rates go up, you know, if anybody's familiar with the discounted cash flow model, the value of those cash flows and the value of those earnings are actually worth less today when interest rates go up. Therefore, I think we are going to continue to see a little bit of a sell-off in the growth technology sector. But I think the second half of the year is going to be very positive for U.S. equities. Hey, Luke Williams says, Irish Italian here too. Miami is the capital of Latin America. So many new high-rises in the last 10 years. Yeah, so I'm very excited to be around more Latin American culture for sure. I think it's always good, especially when you're young, to expose yourself to many different cultures and ways of life. So I think Miami should help me do that a little bit. Daniel says, I'm in Miami now, taking an extended vacation away from New York. Hey, Daniel, that's awesome, man. Whereabouts in Miami are you located? Hey, Lady O's here. Lady O is our moderator from the Garden State of New Jersey. Good to see you. Hey, More to Life says, love watching you from Ohio. Awesome, dude. Welcome everybody from Ohio. Fikes says, banks like when rates go up. Indeed they do. So some people, well, here's one caveat about that. You know, banks have been issuing loans at these ridiculously low interest rates. So when interest rates go up, you know, technically banks are losing money in theory because they've already issued so many loans at very, very low interest rates. So that's one thing banks don't like, is when interest rates really, really go up high and they've already issued all these loans. You know, now a lot of those loans are not profitable. But by and large, you know, when spreads are a little bit wider, it definitely is good for banks. I mean, I think in general, we just have to watch that yield curve. We have to keep our eye on the yield curve in general. But over the past couple weeks, we've been seeing rates creeping up. As well as we heard from the Federal Reserve earlier in the week, the Fed minutes. And the Federal Reserve is signaling that they are going to start to taper asset purchases. But one of the things that's really interesting about that is that when we look at the Federal Reserve's balance sheet, it doesn't coincide with what the Federal Reserve is saying. So what do I mean by that? What I mean is that when we look at the Federal Reserve's balance sheet, it's continually expanding. At the same time, Fed Chair Jerome Powell says they are going to start to taper, but all the while they're actually continuing to buy more assets, which is funny. Hey, 210966 is hello from Paris, France. Very cool. Welcome everybody from France. Alex. Alex says, I never went to Miami, but I love it. I hope to go someday. I love Miami so far. Hey, Eric says, hi from Miami. Hope you're enjoying Miami from Miami. I guess we'll start to walk back because I don't want to miss my bus. Cynthia Beal, how are you? Daniel's in Hollandale Beach. Awesome. MKC says, Tom, please introduce yourself to some in my eye. I can't do that. What's up, photos from around New York? So a lot of people have been asking me about the channel name change. I've explained it a couple times, and I understand that a lot of people are going to continue to be asking. So if you go to my YouTube community page, I advised everybody why the name change. So just to save some breath here, I'll advise just to go to my YouTube's community page. Hey, how are you? So you could check out why I changed the name of that particular channel. Anthony says, do you have the Discord channel? I will provide the link tomorrow. I was creating it today, and you should have it in the link in all the video descriptions by tomorrow. And that will be a Discord for anybody who wants to network in relation to getting a job in Silicon Valley, getting a job in investment banking on Wall Street. So we'll be able to help each other out and network from that regard. Hey, Theresa says your live streams are very good. Well, thank you for watching. I do appreciate it very much. Hey, the Austin Tennis is Tom. What interests you in pursuing DevOps later in life? I don't know, I think I want to try something new in tech. I've always been on the sales side. So I think, maybe learn something new, break into the DevOps space a little bit. But I'm still a little bit undecided in that, but I probably will. Hey, Carol says, Tom, you are a very patient person. Thank you, Carol. I appreciate that. Hey, Mad Gun says, what neighborhood in Miami are you in? So we just exited Brickell Village, and we are in Brickell, Miami. Jonathan Francis, outdoors are thriving. Alejandro says, does anybody still wear a mask? Yeah, I would say by and large, a lot of people do. So I have mine. I always keep it around my arm here, because if you take the public transit, there is a mask mandate for public transit. So if you want to take the bus or the Metro Mover or something like that, you do need to wear a mask. Mad Gun says, do you listen to Fresh and Fit? I'm not sure what... Hey, how are you? Hey. I'm not too sure what Fresh and Fit is, but I will look it up. And we have a good view of Bank of America. KG says, what type of camera are you using? Really good quality of the lens. So this is an iPhone 11. We are streaming from an iPhone 11. Robert Stevens says, can you say anything that holds true in both finance and skateboarding? Are there any similarities? There are a ton of similarities between finance and skateboarding, especially in investing in general. So the one thing I'll say about what's similar between finance and skateboarding is that when you first start skateboarding, you're gonna fall down a lot, you're gonna get clocked, you're gonna get hammered, you're gonna scrape up your knees, you're gonna crack your skull on the pavement a couple times, you're gonna bounce your skull off of a car multiple times, but you always gotta get back on the board and continue skating. Because if you don't, you're not gonna enjoy the times when you're cruising around the city and you don't bounce your skull off the ground, right? You'll never be able to enjoy that. So in investing, you're going to take a bath on a position, you're going to lose money, you're going to make bad investments. But you need to keep trying, you need to keep investing, you need to keep building your discounted cash flow models and getting better at your models. Because one time you're going to hit big, and when that time comes, you're going to be feeling well. Hey, the Swan, good to see you. The Swan is joining us from the one and only Ireland. Good to see you, the Swan. Hope your 2022 is off to a great start. And we have Lady Coach Explorers here. What's going on, Lady Coach Explorers? KG says, I agree. It takes a really strong-minded individual to move on from losses rationally. Not many people can do that. Yeah, time-lapse skateboard can lead to serious physical injury. Investing, you can't get physically injured. I would actually disagree with that a little bit. In 2008, during the 2008 financial crisis, well, we won't go into it. I don't want to get too depressive. But everybody, I just want to say, I hope everybody's having a great start to 2022. My phone is about to die, so I think we're going to end the stream a little bit early tonight. Oh my gosh, we've been streaming for 2 hours already. But I hope everybody has a great rest of the week. It's Friday already, so I hope everybody enjoys their weekend. But we will probably see you tomorrow on the stream. Well, thank you for joining me from the one and only downtown Miami. I definitely enjoyed my time here. I hope you enjoyed the stream as well. If you want to read a free financial newsletter written by myself, you could sign up for the Behind the Street newsletter. If you type !news, N-E-W-S, in the chat, it'll drop the link to the newsletter. Hey, Shop by Scott says, get home safe, bud. Reach out sometime to do Wynwood. Yes, Scott, I will be doing that. I will be doing that, Scott. So if you enjoyed the live stream, feel free to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you are new. And also, if you ever want to hang out during the day, if you're working or you're studying, feel free to jump over to the 24-hour channel. That will be up all day. So Heartland Explorers, good to see you. Time Lapse, good to see you. Newbie K, good to see you. And Vikes, everybody. Lady Orleans, Ruby Falcone, have a good night. Bezita Lopez, always good to see you. The Swan, I will see you all tomorrow. And to the Mighty Bull, have a good night wherever you are, because there's always a bull market somewhere, and you just need to know where to look. And I'll see you all in the next one. Have a great night and a very productive Friday. See you later.